On behalf of the United States Naval Academy, first of all, I'd like to thank the San Diego County Credit Union, Poinsettia Bowl, and everybody involved, all the Redcoats, and we've had a tremendous week. I hope our guys haven't had too much fun, but as Coach Long said, we got a football game coming up, but I know that our players, everybody associated with our program, have had a great time. The weather's been great. People have been so hospitable to everybody involved with our fans and alumni. So thank you very much for a great week. We've had a great time, and we're excited to play a team like San Diego State, who've had so much success. As Coach Long's done a great job, and his last couple of years. When I was at Hawaii when we were in the WAC, San Diego State, and those years with Marshall Falk, and they had some great teams back then, and Coach Long has done a great job of bringing back that tradition. As I look at them on tape, they emulate a lot of qualities that we'd like to have as far as toughness, running to the football, discipline. They just play ball. In today's college football, in a little bit I've got to know Coach Long in a couple of days. He's a ball coach. I can tell he doesn't deal with all that other stuff. But you watch college football and there's a lot of things that go on. Kids draw attention to themselves, even professional football. Guys, there's a lot of individual stuff that happens, but it's never been my style. Just guys, play ball, do the talking with their pads. And as I watch the Aztecs, on tape, that's who they are. Tough, hard-nosed group, athletic, well-coached, and we're excited. We're excited to play against a team, like that. But again, I want to thank everybody, and we're excited to be here.
Questions? And please state your name and outlet.
Gene Wong, Washington Post. Ken, can you just reflect a little bit on being at this point after the midpoint in the season when you were at 2-4, you'd lost a couple games in a row, you turned it around, you've won 5 of 6 now, just kind of your thoughts on being able to really turn the season around?
Well, we were in 10-4. 2-4. I had to go back and look at my contract and make sure that I had to see what were some of the stipulations in my contract, just to make sure I'd make it out of the season. But it's tough. It was, nobody likes losing. When you lose, it's demoralizing. This profession, the highs are high and the lows are low. But you put so much into it, for every game. I don't know enough other professions. I've only coached my whole life. But, everything you put from the beginning of the week to the end of the week is for that game. Your whole program, everybody involved in your program is for the end game and try to do well in that. And when you lose, it's like somebody rips your heart out. And you got to start again. Then if you win, it's highs. Unfortunately, the highs don't last so long because you start thinking about your next opponent. But when you lose, it's demoralizing. And, we have such great kids. You want to see them be successful because they work so hard. But it was tough. But I'm grateful, Gene, that our captains, Noah Copeland and Parrish Gaines did a great job. Just stay in the course, keep working. Don't panic, don't get too high, don't get too low. Come back and lift weights, come back and watch tape, come back and practice, come back and condition, and just move on to the next, task at hand. And I'm grateful that their resiliency paid off.
Tommy Morris, KUSI. What's it like for you guys to come to a military town like San Diego for your bowl game?
Well, it's great. It's, for us to come here, obviously there's so much Navy and Marine Corps personnel here. A lot of our guys that have played are stationed here. There's a lot of alumni. They come here. It's amazing to me how many Naval Academy grads that have, were stationed here, and either this was their last place that they're stationed or one of the places that they're stationed during their time in service, and they end up retiring here. So, obviously they love living here in San Diego. And so when we come here, it's great to see so much alumni and fan base here, but a lot of them stayed here and lived in San Diego. And so it's, like I said, normally, when we played Utah and Colorado State, it was a home game for us. But obviously when we play the Aztecs, they're going to have more fans than we are. But, it's great to come here.
Ken, Todd Leonard from the Union Tribune. with your biggest game coming at the end of your regular season with Army, and then you have somewhat of a gap, but not as long a gap as the Aztecs have had, how much does that concern you from both a preparation standpoint and then from a mental approach standpoint? Can you get your guys back up for this game?
Well, I think Coach Long had that same question last press conference, and I agree with him 1,000%. You know, there's pros and cons to it. You know, we've been playing, but because you play, when you strap it on, man, it's you don't come out of the game feeling the same. I mean, in this game, where it's a contact, violent game, physical game, I mean, you come up nicked up, bruised up, but you still, your skill set and some of the things that you're doing, you kind of get in a rhythm. So I think from that standpoint, I think it kind of helped us to continue to keep playing. And, you know, we just had a game a couple of weeks ago. But in that game, it was a physical game. You know, we ran the ball, they ran the ball. And so we got some guys nicked up. You know, like Coach said, I mean, their guys haven't played in a while, but they get to get rested up, and it just sees, you know how rusty they are or how on time they are. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, it'll play out once the game goes, you know. As I look at next year, I don't know if you should talk, but then it's even going to be worse because then the game before the week before the Army game is our conference championship. So, you know, you talk about doing this. I have no idea how that's because, you know, your goal is you'd like to be in that game. Then you play Army the next week, and then you so it's been hard enough to come because, like you said, the Army game is everything, and there's euphoria of it. But very quickly, as soon as our guys would go, especially us on offense, because we were very familiar with Coach Long and his defense, we were like, crap. You know what I mean? we got to play Coach Long in the Aztecs. You know, we're hoping to play somebody that didn't understand the option or haven't been too familiar with it, or maybe a guy with an NFL background that's coming back to college or something, but somebody who's really familiar with the option. You're like, okay, you know, that's great. We beat Army. We better start focusing on, you know, the Aztecs.
Hi, Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun Media Group and the Capital newspaper in Annapolis. Ken, dovetailing off what you were just talking about, Coach Long has a reputation for knowing how to defend the option. He's seen it quite a bit. They play Air Force regularly, have played Army and you. The last time you all met in this bowl game, they did a pretty good job defending you. Can you just talk to what they've done in the past and the challenges and why you think that Coach Long has done a good job of defending this particular attack?
Well, I think you shortchange Coach Long if you say he just defends option people well. He defends everybody well. Spread team, conventional teams, and teams that run a lot of two-back stuff, and obviously he does well against our stuff. So he's a great defensive coach. But like I said earlier, the things that he does are the things that we try to emulate. You know, assignment sound, play fast, run to the football, physical. You know, they know exactly what you're doing. When you're an offense trying to break down what they do, you know, they give you so many, you know, multiple looks. They move around. They're active, but they know where they're going. Everything's in concert. There's not gaps open. Their gap integrity is very sound. So, you know, to the normal fan, it might look like guys moving all around the place, but believe me, they know exactly where they're going, what gap they're responsible for. But, you know, in coaching, you always tell kids to play fast, and the only way you can play fast is knowing you got to know what you do. You got to know your job assignment. You know, I got to know your assignments. And so when you watch them play, it's very evident that their kids are well coached and they know exactly what to do, because that's the only way you can play fast. And so, yeah, they do well against us, but they do well against everybody.
Hey, Ken, can you just talk a little bit about Keenan? Obviously, is a huge impact on the team, but after that losing streak, you rest him, and then, you know, he comes back and just has he flourishes in the second half of the season. How much of an impact did he make when healthy?
Well, I've thought about, you know, I'm a bad coach. I should have rested him earlier. You know what I mean? I probably played him, got him back too early, and he probably wasn't ready to play. You know, we had some huge games with Rutgers and Air Force, obviously another rivalry game, and he wasn't 100%. You know, he wasn't himself. And so I look back at that as a coach, it probably made a bad decision. You know, should have rested him more. But since he's been back healthy, came back the San Jose State game, I think when he was back to himself, we've played well. But, I mean, it's any offense, whether you're an option or conventional or throw the ball 50 times. Everything starts with your quarterback. And we're very fortunate because the guy, a smart quarterback, makes great decisions, gets us in the right play, and I'm grateful that he's back healthy.
Coach, Stephanie Lowe with the UT San Diego. So this is Navy's last season sort of like as a football independent. I mean, going into the American next year, like what does that affect for you guys just in terms of, from your standpoint, like scheduling or things like that?
Well, obviously, your schedule's in place now, so our athletic director's done a great job in hustling and trying to get games, and it's hard when you're an independent trying to get games because people that are in conferences, which most people are now, they're already booked up, and so at least we know our games, who they're going to be, where you're going to play. Our other non-conference games will be set in stone with Air Force, Army, Notre Dame, and one other one. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we'll have our hands full, tomorrow. But the future, I don't know. We haven't played in the conference. As Coach talked about in his last press conference, their deal is the Mountain West is a great conference. You're trying to win it. And they talked about the rivalry with Boise. We're going. I think anybody that goes into conference, that's your goal is to try to win your conference. But unfortunately, like I said, we got our Army game after, so we'll get to that in a couple of days. But that's a great question. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of question marks that got to be answered, but we'll get to that after.
Hey, Coach, Bill Wagner again. Can you talk about their tailback? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about your option and their ability to try to defend it. But Pumphrey's a heck of a back. I actually met him at SeaWorld yesterday. He's standing there next to his teammates. He looked like the manager. He's a little kid, but he's a heck of a player, and I'm sure you've seen on film what he can do. Talk about trying to stop him and contain him.
I know you didn't just call him the manager. That guy is a heck of a back. Last time we were here playing Hillman, and he was a heck of a back. He does a great job. They're a physical team in running the football. And you feel like you watch the tape and you feel like sometimes that people that play them got all their gaps, taken care of. And next thing you know, he pops out of there. He's a patient back. He's got great vision, very quick, hard to tackle. They got a big offensive line. He's hard to find back there. He has everything that you're looking for. As far as Coach mentioned, maybe not the biggest guy, but his vision, toughness. Because when you're that big and you carry the ball that many times, you're a tough sucker. You got to be a tough dude, man. And like I said, we pitch the ball to our guys outside. He's running in between the tackles. He can run outside, but he can run the ball anywhere. He's just not a perimeter back. He runs a lot of things in between the tackles, and is physical. So he's such a weapon for them because obviously everything starts with him in their run game and with all their play pass stuff off of that. It puts you in some binds. You bring your safeties up to help out with the run, and then they throw the ball over your head. And he's such a good back that you got to bring people in to tackle him because he's a hard guy to get down.